the Citizen Movement for Corruption. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining anti-corruption crusade as well. And then so far, the special courts, is that the way to go?
Absolutely. As some of you may know, over the last at least year, I have been emphasizing the need for special courts. Indeed, with the new hat I wear as chairperson of the AUABC, there are some countries in Africa I visited, especially Kenya, earlier this year, where they have special courts. They have as many as 12 special courts on anti-corruption, with a target of discharging cases within 6 months. So these courts meet daily. So the special is not just about the timing where they are meeting daily. It's also about the additional training within the sector and specialization so that the prosecutors, the judges understand the issues. And so you can dispense of cases rapidly. So I'm absolutely delighted at the decision of the president. I'm delighted at his action, the fact that they're going to draw this conclusion, and we are looking forward to its implementation. The other countries, Zambia too has done this in the past. I'm hoping we can learn from their experiences. I think it's a progressive decision that will contribute significantly once executed.
Now, the subjects of the courts also mean that they need to work rapidly. We've had fast-track high courts before, and so we've had some models that have been experimented with so far. If you have to relate that to how effective they have been and what the expectation of how effectively these will be, what will be your conclusions?
Well, the fast-track court, as was designated earlier, we looked at mechanization as a country. So what it was you put in equipment, but the rules of court, the administrative procedures did not change. So the courts were not sitting daily. You know, in our jurisdiction, what happens, you go to court today, they'll tell you, come back next month, if not next 2 months. It is the reason why the duration of our cases, minimum for such cases, is 2 years, and at the peak 7 years. So we don't conclude cases before 2 years on average. Minimum 2 years to 7 years. That's a very long period. In that period, most citizens would have given up hope that we are serious about fighting corruption. So there's a distinct difference here. And in recent days, we've been looking at the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, building on NACAP. And one of my key points was to emphasize that many lawyers confuse the issue of fast track with special courts. And so we should not use the term fast track because the mechanization did not appear to have worked effectively. So there's that kind of people are dissatisfied with the idea of fast track and the mechanization. That's not what we are talking about here. We are saying that the rules should change where they sit daily. So yes, mechanize, all right, have all the equipment, but the rules change so they are sitting daily on the same issue. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, within 6 weeks, 6 months, you can clear a case.
I see. All right. So can we win the fight with this?
It will only be one of the strategies in the gamut of strategies. It's not by itself the silver bullet or golden bullet or the panacea. We still need to have the COPO pass, Conduct of Public Officers Bill. We still need a comprehensive, anti-corruption bill where you have everything in one place so it's easier to identify what to use at which point. We still need to ring fence some funding for anti-corruption. We are losing $3 to $5 billion. Now, I think that the single most strategic space where if government were to invest today and to make sure that we bring down the billions we are losing, we'll see phenomenal resources available for development is the sector of anti-corruption. And we ring fence some funding to make sure that we can promote, the recovery of monies, prevention of the losses, plug the holes. So the special courts is one of those things that will begin to send a certain message. But a little bit of improving the legal regime, lifestyle audits, illicit enrichment, reverse burden, things that would then make it easier, as well as the sanction regimes. And I would love something that also covers community sentencing. Let's not have to go and spend money on people in prison. Also, even the plea bargaining regime. I think a structured plea bargaining regime so that there's clarity on how we approach it, and it does not look like some people, perhaps the political elite, may benefit from certain plea bargain situations or out-of-court settlements.
All right. How would you rate the government's fight in relation to Operation Recover or Loot so far? Of course, headed by the AG. And then OSPs on the other hand and all the others.
Probably, I mean, I'm one of those who have always refrained from rating, because I say, look, the sector, if you've been in, it's much more complicated than you think. But I would say I would give an above average.
Okay. So let me give the parameters then, since you're afraid to give 0 to 10.
Oh, certainly above 5. I would probably say 6.
6. Okay.
I would not get to 7 because I think that they need some time to go to get into the actual prosecution. And we always have that delayed lag in our space. What happens is this. It takes a long time to do the investigation. Make sure you have concrete evidence that you can take to court and have substantive prosecution that can lead to, rulings and sanctions. And so when you have a citizenry that's too eager and giving too much pressure, it's not really a good thing. My position has always been that the rights of people are at stake. Let's take our time. Let's give the AG time. It's in the same vein the AG should give the OSP time. I have always said that I believe that the SP and the people there are doing the best they can. We've not had a situation where ministers, presidents have been brought before any entity, For the first time in this country that has happened. I think that they are doing quite well. It's the time they need to make sure investigations are done right. So the evidence they are taking to court is substantive, is concrete, is the one that will get you the kind of rulings you want. And so let's not jump the gun. So I think that the AG is doing well. They are committed to doing what they need to do. Once they get into the prosecutions and are delivering, it will help with the indicators so that we are clear. And I also like the fact that the AG has been out there. I like the adoption of the style where as often as possible, you brief the citizenry. Some people say they are talking too much. I don't think so. I think that that's the way to go, to carry everybody along, to make sure the facts are there, to set the precedents that will ensure that those who think they can continue with impunity will change their minds.
All right. So far, you have monitored the back and forth and the public debate on the AG OSP subject matter. What's your own observation so far?
I think it's much ado about nothing. And I think sometimes it's about understanding process and practice. I'll tell you a story. The last time when President Mahama was was president, the previous time, at a point I was so disturbed by corruption, I said I was going to do a vigil against corruption at the Independence Square. And I wrote to the police. I was invited. At that time, the current IGP was the regional commander for Greater Accra. So at the regional police command, I was brought into a room with 7 policemen standing, 1 chair, and I sat. And they queried me about why I wanted to do this vigil. And I said I was so upset about the levels of corruption and what have you. And they said we had to go and ask permission from BNI. And I said, according to the law, no. This is my rights, our organization's rights, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. We don't need to have to go to BNI. Eventually, the regional commander then, who is now the IGP, asked their PRO to go to BNI and ask whether we had permission, etc. I thought this was just, confusing the issues. When I stepped out, I think a chief inspector, Sid, I remember his name, called me quietly to his office and said, gentlemen, this is a challenge. You are right that this is what the law says. But over the years, remember that the seat of government has been at the castle. The president has always been at the castle. So the Independence Square has always been considered a security zone. And over the years, the BNI have been responsible for guarding that space. So as a matter of tacit agreement between security agencies, we've always understood that if anything should happen in Independence Square, we go and ask the BNI to prevent any theft wars. So the regional commander and the team are not trying to frustrate you. They are just trying to say there are other things you may not know based on practice and process. Why am I saying that? In my understanding of the issue between the AG and the OSP, I think the OSP is just trying to do a very thorough job. I think the situation is that on the 13th of June when the AG wrote saying nominate people and add the docket. 3 days earlier, they had raided SNL and discovered information that they thought was substantive to even improving the case. So you have a very good case and you see opportunity to make it an excellent case plus more charges. And so if I were in leadership, and this is accountable leadership for me, I would say, oh, give me a few more weeks to add that as well so that by the time we deliver the docket, which is what they did. So I really don't understand the hullabaloo about they are taking too long. If Ken Ofri-Atta had arrived on the 2nd of June, the 4 cases they were going to interrogate him on, collecting the data on those 4 cases to finish the case would still have taken probably about 2 months. So my analysis tells me that this is much ado about nothing. I'm quite sure that by the end of the week, the OSP is going to provide that docket. At least that's what I understand. I think that all parties should have more understanding of the processes required. And I think it's a good thing when you have leadership that's intent of doing a thorough job, such that when we get to having to do the extradition, all questions are properly dealt with.
Thank you very much. Edem Senanu is co-chair, Citizens Movement Against Corruption.